Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the Brugger Trucking Show. Today, I wanted to stop in, touch base. I hope this video finds you well. It is Friday. Woohoo! Getting ready for a long Memorial Day weekend. Get to do some relaxing and unwinding, a little bit of drinking, a little bit of hanging out with family. Hope that you guys are looking forward to a good Memorial weekend yourselves. I wanted to touch on a couple of things in this video. First off, things are getting better. Spot market rates are coming up. Volatility is coming up as more businesses come online and are allowed to uh, open back up. Things are gonna slowly but surely start to come back. Um, I myself that ran some rough numbers. I've still got 2 loads to do today, and then I'm gonna run 1 load down tomorrow night, so that I can leave out Saturday morning to head up north. But ran some rough numbers. I will end up with right around $4,000 net profit for this week. Hashtag no money in local life. So yeah, things are getting better. Things are on the upside. That puts me a hell of a lot closer to getting that second quad. um, but on that, I was reading an article, and I can't remember now where I found the article at. I'm sure you could do a quick Google search and probably find it for yourself. But they were talking about the how did they say it? Uh, the like number one threat to the future economy, and the number one thing that is going to hinder us economically coming out of all of these lockdowns, and that is that the savings rate, the U.S. savings rate, is up pretty substantially. Now, the U.S. citizen, or, the U.S. savings rate typically mirrors the unemployment rate. As unemployment increases, so does the savings rate. So it is still kind of in lockstep with that. Um, but this article kind of makes the argument, and I've held the belief for a few weeks now, really closer to a month, that I believe, and I'm no Chicken Little, but I believe that the reaction to this pandemic and all of the lockdowns have had such a substantial impact on, what would you call it? Uh, the American psyche, uh, that I believe, to a lesser degree, uh, it will have the same impact that the Great Depression had. Uh, Meaning that as we come out of this, I think the economy will get back to a kind of baseline level, but that, moving forward for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, your average American household is going to be getting themselves into a better financial position, i.e., paying down debts, using less credit card debt, paying off and down credit card debt, uh, you know, trying to decrease uh, their individual cost of living, you know, paying off cars, refinancing cars to bring the payments down, um, and increasing their savings so that, you know, if another event like this happens, they will not be so dependent on the government. You know, that they will have money in the bank to help weather the storm, much like the folks coming out of the Great Depression did. You know, they were the savers, not the spenders. You know, our generation has, with credit cards and easy access to mortgages and other lending options, you know, we've become the generation of spending. And as was the case in 2008, we often overspend. And subsequently, most American families live paycheck to paycheck. Well, I think, and this article was making the argument that there's a very good chance that that is going to change. You know, that this has been such a jarring effect uh, on just the American population that, you know, everybody will be doing their part to uh, have a little bit of money in the bank the next go around. And I only say that uh, to say that, you know, from a business perspective, with rates on the rise, you have to. Okay, I've always lived by the motto of uh, hope for the best, plan for the worst. And with that concept in mind, I could see rates getting back to, you know, that $1.85 to 2.15 range. I don't think you're going to see rates skyrocketing into the 3.50 and $4 market because I think people will get back to work. They will increase their spending to essentially get back to a happy medium, and they're not going to, you know, go splurging. They're not going to go overboard. They're going to have it in the back of their minds that, maybe we don't go on vacation this year, or maybe we take a vacation closer to home so that we can drive, you know, and take more of a long weekend. You know, they're going to be focusing more on saving money. That is going to kind of put a limiter, a governor on the economy. And so you as a business person, you know, an entrepreneur, have to kind of set yourself up going forward with that in mind. Um, because the big bounce, you know, the economic skyrocket is most likely not going to come. And even from a business perspective, you know, you need to be working on setting yourself up, increasing your savings, decreasing your overhead. This whole thing should not only be a learning lesson in your personal life, in your household, but in your business as well. The guys going out of business are the guys that were dependent on cash flow. You see a lot of business, a lot of restaurants going out of business. Ditka's in Chicago just closed. Um, you have the largest mall company, conglomerate, whatever it's called, in the country just filed bankruptcy. You have huge companies going out of business. Well, part of that is because those businesses are cash flow dependent. They don't tend to keep a whole lot of money uh, in the bank. They're constantly reinvesting money and in growth mode, uh, which is good to a degree. If you want to stay in business, if you're not moving forward, you're dying. Uh, but at the same time, you know, I know myself. Uh, this is definitely kind of driven home the idea of having other avenues, having other resources. Keeping more money in my savings, both in the household finance side and on the business side. Um, you know, Flexibility uh, is the key to success in this business. And so I just wanted to put that out there. Some food for thought. You know, if you're struggling right now, you're going to have to learn how to lower your overhead. You're going to have to learn, if anything, the guys that do come out of this on the other side will be stronger for it because you're learning now how to run your truck on a shoestring budget. And so I guess this is more of a I don't want to say a warning, but when rates do get back up to $1.85, $2 a mile, keep running your truck the way you're running it now. You know, put that money up. Uh, Rebuild your coffers, you know, so that way, if shit hits the fan again, you not only know how to run your business on a shoestring budget and optimize your profitability, but you've got a little bit of cash sitting in the bank so that you're not one of these guys parked out in Washington, D.C. With no fuel in the tanks, begging the government for a handout. And that leads me to the other topic I wanted to talk about. I'll try to do it somewhat quick. I don't want this to be a half-hour video. Um, but that is business in general. Um, I was thinking about this the other day. You know, Part of the reason that the industry, at least on the owner operator side, has had the market volatility that it's had from 2018 to 2019 to now, and even a little bit prior to that, is I don't think I don't think people comprehend uh, the idea of business. You know, these guys in Washington D.C. Part of the reason they're there, and part of the reason a lot of guys are crying, is because they believe, it's an unfair system. Everything should be fair. Everything should be a level playing field. Well, life is not fair. Life is not a level playing field, and everything is a competition. If you want fair, if you want the level playing field, then you become a company driver, a W 2 driver. That is where the field is level. That is where the government, through labor laws and the NLRB, uh, are there to ensure a level playing field. When you come out into business, you're giving up that playing field. And you're saying that I can do it better than you. And before you go out and buy a truck, before you make the jump, you really need to sit down and be self analytical, uh, and know your personality. It is a dog eat dog world. You are in business. Look, me myself, I've always been a competitive person. Uh, you know, back when I was a company driver, um, if the average was 2,500 miles a week, I was trying to put down 3,000 miles a week. If Whenever I applied for a job, one of the first questions I asked them was, what was your average driver payroll, last year?" If they said, "Oh, our average driver made $50,000 a year," I knew right off the bat that I was going to go in there making 60,000 a year, because I know my personality. Uh, I know that, you know, I'm shooting for that guy at the top. If the top driver was 75,000, I know I gotta get in there and get my feet wet. I gotta learn your system, all of that. But I'm shooting to beat that 75,000 year number two. That's just my personality. If this guy's putting down, you know, 10 loads a week, I'm figuring out a way to work my schedule, work the system, do whatever I got to do to put down 11 loads a week. That's just my personality. That's what drives me. Um, in every aspect. Uh, you know, I was one of those guys that almost anywhere I ever worked, as far as driving, after 6 months, I, I could do whatever I wanted to. Because I was the guy outperforming everybody. I was the guy getting more loads, putting down more miles, uh, and getting better fuel economy. My truck was in the shop less. I figured out real fast. The less I got to stop and get fuel, the less my truck is in the shop, the more money I can make. So I've always been that guy. I want to destroy everybody else. If you're not going to be the best, what's the point in doing it? Is kind of that's what motivates me. That's what drives me, is that competitive spirit. And so when it comes to business, have I had missteps? Have I made mistakes? Absolutely. There's things I can look back on and say, oh shit, I was stupid for doing it that way. Or, if I would have known better, I would have done it this way. But I've been successful thus far because I am competitive on every level. You know, I'm trying to even competitive against myself. If my average fuel economy is 6.2 miles to the gallon, I'm trying to beat that the next time I file, next quarter when I file my IFTA. I'm trying to get 6.3, 6.4. I print out my quarterly numbers, my quarterly profit and loss statement. You know, now I look back to last year's. I've got them in a filing cabinet. You know, that's the number I'm trying to beat for second quarter this year. I'm trying to beat last year's. Um, if I put down 400 loads last year, uh, I'm trying to put down 450 loads this year. If my profit margins were, what were they, like 48% last year, I'm trying to get 50 plus this year. You know, and I'm doing that because I have bigger goals. I was thinking about it last night. The best thing I can equate it to is golf. If you go out and you and three of your buddies are going out to play a round of golf, right? You have fun, you have drinks, your buddies. You may even, this dude's got a shit swing, you know, you might help him out. But ultimately, you are trying to win the game. Ultimately, you're trying to beat him. That's the same thing in business. Uh, you know, I have many friends who are owner operators, who are carriers. Uh, I I would help them; they would help me. Um, you know, in some degree, they're not. We're not trying to directly put each other out of business, but there is somewhat of a competitive nature to it. Uh, the other guys in my subsect of the industry, my goal is to put them out of business. Uh, my goal is to be so profitable that I can add more trucks and push them out of what I'm doing and expand my business into other subsectors of the industry. And ultimately 10 years down the road, have 100 trucks. You know, that's what motivates me. And I think to a degree, before you buy a truck, before you come out here, you have to have a good competitive spirit. Uh, you have to have that in you. Um, that's like back to the golf analogy, you know, there's a different level between, you and three of your buddies going out to the golf course on a Saturday once a month versus the professional, versus the Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods. You know, those dudes, the competitive nature is a thousandfold. And it's the same thing. You know, they'll help each other out. They talk nice about each other. They're cordial, even somewhat friendly. But when they're on the golf course, they're trying to destroy each other. You know, win. That's the goal, to win. It doesn't matter if were roommates in college or whatever. Uh, that's cool. Right now, you're trying to destroy each other. Uh, your goal is to beat them. And when you become an owner operator, and especially when you become a carrier, you know, that's the ball game. That's the level of game that you're trying to play at. And it's a whole different animal. Uh, you know, those guys eat, sleep, and breathe golf. They're practicing every day. They're looking at analytics every day. They're putting money into technology. They're all in. Even at that level, even at the top level, uh, you know, even when they've gotten to the Swift or the Schneider level, they're they're trying to destroy each other. They're trying to take each other out. They're putting money into golf club technology, into golf ball technology, into fucking what shoe spikes are better. They're looking for every angle, every edge. They're all playing by the same rules, you know, but they're looking for that edge. They're putting the time in, the dedication in. And if you're going to be successful as an owner operator, you have to be on that same level. Yeah, you can be a casual dude, and be number 85 on the board, but you're never going to be on the leaderboard. And if you have a bad day, you don't get paid. Uh, you know, you're kind of just a hang around. You're gonna do all right when it's good, and you're gonna starve when you're on a bad streak. Well, in trucking, you know, you have a bad if you're that dude and you have a bad streak, you're the dude that's filling out applications right now. You're the dude losing your house or losing your truck or both, on the verge of bankruptcy. So, for the guys that are thinking about coming out, you know, know that it's a very rewarding uh, career choice, but if you're the dude that only goes out and golfs once a month, you're not just gonna jump into the PGA Tour. Uh, you know, I don't know. I don't want that to sound like fucking douchey or like I'm being cocky or some shit, because it's not that hard. I just think a lot of people don't understand the concept of, you know, when you come out here, sure, people will help you, but at the same time, you know, everybody out here is looking to put you out of business, and you should be looking to put everybody else out of business. Even even when you get to Swift and Schneider and JB Hunt, if you think those dudes aren't trying to put each other out of business and steal business from the other one, and put littler guys out of business so that they can grow to be bigger than the other one, they do it all the fucking time. And those dudes are fucking ruthless. Uh, they'll take a company out and they'll pimp their trucks around for 6 months, or have their Swift trucks pulling the trailers around for a fucking year like a damn head on a stick, showing everybody that you know they're fucking killing people. you know they're taking motherfuckers out. you know it's just fucking ruthless. They're not only trying to put you out of business, they're trying to fucking embarrass you. they're, that's the level that they're on, and that's, to me, you know, if you want to, if you're not trying to get to that level, you're limiting yourself. Another saying, uh, you know, if you shoot for the stars, you'll at least hit the moon. Uh, you know, if you shoot for the moon, you might not even get off the ground. So if your goal is to, be a single truck owner operator, I mean that's fine. Your personality, it might work out. I don't know. There's plenty of dudes that do it, but there's also plenty of dudes that do it. They get complacent because they lose that competitive edge. They lose that motivation. And when '08 happens, or when this kind of shit happens, they're the dudes losing their trucks because they got caught slipping, you know? Where me, fuck, might only end up with like 5 trucks, you know? Uh, but I'm fucking shooting for 100, you know? I don't know. That's just the way my brain works. That's what motivates me. Uh, but all I was trying to say about like Swift and Schneider and them, like, that's how they fucking got to where they are. And yeah, they got 100 years on me. They got 100 year head start, but that's how they got there because is that attitude of you know we're here to be the fucking best and take everybody else out. And that's how they got to 28,000 trucks, you know, by taking motherfuckers out. That's how they can dominate the market now. But at any rate, I don't know. That's just my Friday ramblings. Shit I was actually thinking about yesterday and tonight. But at any rate, hit the like button, Leave your comments down below. Hope that y'all have a great Memorial weekend. We will see you next week. Later.